Let's flash back to 2020, 2019, when President Biden was running to be president for his first term. His campaign focused heavily on inclusion. He contrasted himself to then President Trump, and he was trying to, be a president that would be a president for both parties, regardless of if you were Democrat or Republican, he was going to represent you. What do we know about a potential campaign into 2024?
That message of bipartisanship, we saw it during his State of the Union address earlier this year, is still something that he has tried to maintain, despite this highly divisive political environment, the split Congress. He made a point to, adhere to Speaker Kevin McCarthy's request not to directly attack Republicans during the State of the Union. I will say that a lot has changed in the past few months, and he has really started to ramp up attacks on Republicans. I think that this also has to do with the looming budget negotiations, the debt ceiling negotiations. The Biden administration is accusing Republicans of wanting to, defund a whole host of federal programs and agencies. They are flipping the script on the defund the police narrative that was a left-leaning mantra in the 2020 anti-police brutality protest that many in the party have moved away from as voters have become more concerned about crime. And now the Biden administration is saying that it's Republicans who want to defund the FBI and the Justice Department. And some Republicans have expressed, threats to do that, largely in conjunction with those agencies' investigations into former President Donald Trump. Republicans have sort of vowed to retaliate by cutting these agencies. And then the Biden administration has also claimed that Republicans want to cut entitlement programs like Social Security and Medicare, which, are obviously important across the political spectrum to all Americans. And all polls show that voters do not want to see cuts to those programs. Republicans have said that they have no plans to do so, but there have been some statements, alluding to changes within those programs that have allowed the Biden administration to say that. So it's become slightly more divisive, I would say, in recent months, but certainly we're not seeing the attacks on the Republican Party from Biden anywhere similar to the attacks that Trump waged on the Democrats during his time in office.
Sara, what's really interesting is it's 2023 right now as we sit here. We're talking politics, and the two major figures we keep talking about are Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Is 2024 going to be a rematch of 2020? Because as we know, Donald Trump is the front runner of the Republican presidential race.
It is certainly seeming that way, although a lot can unfold within the next year. There's the looming possible trial against Trump in Manhattan criminal court, several other investigations into his conduct. I mentioned the two DOJ probes into his handling of classified documents and his role in the January 6 riots. And then in addition, the Fulton County, Georgia investigation into his role in efforts to overturn the election results in the state. So I think that those things could potentially affect, his standing with voters, although he has sought to capitalize on them, and it could go the other direction, and it could help him, as we have sort of seen with this indictment. I mean, every speech, everything that he has said since then is not surrounding policy, but it's, casting these investigations as politically motivated and seeking to rally his base, and make it seem like that the Democrats are hijacking the justice system, and that is his main pitch right now. So whether that can carry him through to 2024 and help him sustain the results of these investigations and fight them, is yet to be seen. And then, of course, other candidates have yet to formally announce. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has not made a decision yet. Neither has former Vice President Mike Pence. former New Jersey governor Chris Christie is another person who is weighing a possible run, as is New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu. The only other candidates who have formally announced are former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, biotech entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, and more recently, former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson. So a lot can play out, but yes, I mean, it's not smart to make a prediction in politics, especially this far out. But I think that a lot of people, if they were going to be forced to do so, would say that a Trump-Biden rematch next year is likely.
It's funny that you say that. I was talking to a former Clinton pollster last week, Mark Penn, and he said being front runner is the last place you want to be this early out. And he also said that the indictment against former President Trump actually somehow made former President Trump the winner because it really reinvigorated his campaign. But has there been any indication that Trump's indictment has had any impact on Biden's presidential run?
The Biden administration has not commented on the indictment, because largely it could help fuel Trump's claims that Democrats are out to get him. And the Biden administration has also cited the Hatch Act in refusing to comment on this, which prohibits the president from using his official office for campaign purposes. So it's really unlikely that we will see any commentary from Biden on this until he formally announces his candidacy. And it certainly would not be done from the briefing room or come from the mouth of White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre. But I will say that, it may not be affecting Biden directly, but it is affecting Trump's candidacy, of course, and that it is forcing a lot of his would-be competitors putting them in a predicament and sort of forcing them to jump to his defense in a way. I mean, DeSantis has criticized the investigation. He has not explicitly mentioned Trump's name in doing so, but that could definitely be characterized as a defense of Donald Trump, which is no position that any competitor wants to be in, defending the person that they're competing against.
Aside from these GOP contenders, let's touch on the competition within President Biden's own party. Who are the other Democratic candidates running against Biden?
Yes, there are two very long shot candidates who have announced. Marianne Williamson, she is an author, known for her spirituality, and she ran in 2020 as well. And then more recently, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who was an environmental lawyer previously, but in recent years, he has aligned himself with the anti-vax movement and has been, highly skeptical of the COVID-19 vaccine. So neither of these candidates are considered serious competitors to Biden.